Ramble.
Quick shout out to Caliper CBD, Mint Mobile, and Best Fiends for sponsoring this episode.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Welcome to the TryPod, everybody. It's my birthday, everybody. Happy birthday to me, everybody. We're going to talk about things that we like and things that we hate and things that make us laugh and things that make us cry. It's my birthday. Happy birthday.
How old are you?
33.
How do you feel?
I feel okay. Good. You know, last year my birthday was overshadowed by the book release, but at the same time, that's pretty dope to release a book on your birthday. And the year before that, my birthday was overshadowed by our channel launch. But that's okay, because also starting a YouTube channel is pretty dope. But now this year, my birthday is overshadowed by a pandemic and also everybody suddenly realizing they need to fight a lot harder against systemic racism, which is good. That's a good thing.
These are all good things. Hey, I'm thrilled to share my birthday with this.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
So when do you think it'll be your day? When do you think there will be a Keith birthday where there's absolutely nothing else going on and it can just be your day?
I think it was when I turned 30 a few years ago. I think I had a fried chicken tasting birthday party. I got fried chicken from 5 or 6 different places.
That was a
Now
good
we got
party.
the fried chicken bouquet at work.
We sang karaoke in my house. Anyway, welcome to the TryPod.
Was that when Becky gave you the fried chicken bouquet?
Yes, I believe that was that was the year. Yeah, Becky normally gives me some sort of fried chicken surprise. Once it was a cake, but it was really just like mashed potato. It was a cake. 1 year was a bouquet. Last year, I think we just got fried chicken. But she always used to give me the shirts that say Keith a million times.
Which we still don't sell, which is, I would wear a Keith shirt. You know, what's going on?
Yeah. Also, like, I can't wear it because if I wear it out in public, somebody's like, so your name is Keith? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, it is. Thanks.
You got me.
You got me.
I found a case full of some of our old merch, like old original stuff, like limited, like you can't find it anymore. And one was Zach, the I'm the clitoris meme of you. And I put it on, and I was like, I don't feel comfortable wearing this outside. I'm wearing an illustration of a man in a vagina costume.
Yeah.
But Keith, I would do that. That would be okay with me.
I've always had Keith shirts. It's a long-running thing in my life, but my favorite one as a kid, I had one that was me, and then there was a tiny me on my shoulder, and it said Keith underneath. And then in college, I had one that said Keith, but it had a picture of my friend that was not named Keith. A video that's not out, so people haven't seen it yet. But I would say that Eugene's pancake art as itself would make a good demo for the shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Eugene, to remind people who haven't seen, what was your pancake art?
Well, no one's seen it yet. No one has
There's
seen
no
it yet.
reminding, Miles. Are you not keeping up with our channel, dude?
Sorry,
It's a tease.
I didn't even know that we had a YouTube channel.
Miles is only in the audioverse.
You win a Webby and you forget about everything that got you there.
Miles is like, I don't see color or light. Or I only hear things. I only hear sound.
I just listen to the YouTube videos as a podcast. It makes a lot less sense, for sure.
I actually think a lot of people do that. You know, you load it up in one tab, fire it up, then you start browsing around. Eugene, you got a haircut.
I did get a haircut, finally.
You look handsome.
I get like 2 haircuts a year, so this is my second, but I often cut my hair and it's still very long. So this one I went pretty short. It's nice. I forget that I put extra work into trying to like maintain lion-like hair when I really could just get haircuts, but here we are. I like to make life harder on myself.
But also, every haircut, there's a risk. Not really with you because you use the same, you use David Dang and there's no risk. But for me, it was a risk because I couldn't always get the guy I wanted and there was a risk.
Oh, I thought you meant coronavirus risk. You're just saying playing a hairdresser roulette at the shop.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't.
That's a little risky. That's true. That's risky. You don't get the good person.
Oh, I'm getting somebody who's not as good as Nikki. Is like the guy who runs the barbershop is amazing. Everybody else is fine.
I will say, I think I shared this on the podcast once, but I had a hair emergency once. I needed a haircut. My normal dude couldn't do it. And I was like, Keith, where do you get your haircut? It seems like it's a approachable, easy enough. And I went and I got some random person there. And it was so comically the worst haircut that a human being could ever get. I said, leave the top long, bring in the sides. She buds the top, kept my sides long and poofy. It was a nightmare. And also my glasses come off. When I'm getting a haircut, I don't know what's going on until the end. It's a nightmare. But then I go to the mirror. She doesn't give me a brush or anything. You know how the barber, they brush you off afterwards. They get all those little hairs off you. She didn't do that. She gave me a towel. And then I go to the bathroom and there's hair all over my face. It was so insultingly bad. I was livid. I was so upset. Yeah, I gave a bad tip, but I still gave a tip.
It's going to be 18%.
Yeah,
exactly.
Take that, 18%.
Take that.
Well, team, people in the world are freaking upset and getting wild, and they've turned to you for advice.
Oh.
How about that? Huh?
Oh.
Eugene's got a sexy new haircut, and people want to know how he did it. Well, there's an advice email called advice@gmail.com, and people write in. Sometimes I write into the other one where they're wasted. I'm drunktryguys@gmail.com. But either way, they have questions for you.
So this is an only sober hotline.
Yes.
Right. You gotta be sober. You
Yeah,
gotta
we
be
can't-
thinking clearly, really break it down, 5-paragraph structure.
Yeah.
We have no way of knowing for sure.
Right. People
We
could
cannot confirm the sobriety of the questions.
Exactly. This one is a little wacky. How about that? Eugene, can I get a fake name for this person writing in about their dad?
Mulch Mommy.
Mulch Mommy. Well, that makes it sound like it's their wife, but Mulch Mommy. Nonetheless, we're pushing forward.
Well, Miles, a little fun fact. All mulch mommies have mulch daddies.
Of course they do. Is a Mulch Mommy somebody who works at Lowe's Home Improvement and they sell mulch?
You guys
you
ever
could
get
have-
mulch in your eye? It hurts.
Anyway, Mulch Mommy writes, Dear Miles, my sister's family, my dad, and I have a weekly Zoom call to catch up. My sister has 2 daughters, of which are relatively young.
Is this a math problem? It sounds like a word problem so far.
Yeah.
It sounds like I'm supposed to. How many sisters like donuts?
Yeah, I'm going to do word math problems for you guys. That'd be a fun podcast. My sister has 2 daughters, of which are relatively young. My dad can't seem to grasp the fact that everyone can see him in the Zoom call, and it's not a phone call. We have tried to explain this to him, but he keeps just saying, if it's called a Zoom call, then that means you can't see me. I mean, I have to admit his logic is seamless. This has created an assortment of problems. On multiple occasions, he has answered the call completely naked. He stands up from
Yikes.
he stands up from his chair, swinging his junk everywhere. It
What?
slaps on the cabinets, grazes the
No.
floor, and thrashes.
No, this is a lie.
This
This is made up. No,
and-
Miles, how dare you
Keep
read
going.
this?
Also, I'm very uncomfortable calling the writer Mulch Mommy.
And thrashes
You
on.
read this smut on my podcast, Miles? On this award-winning, classy-ass podcast,
Yeah.
you're reading
It
this
scrapes the
smut
floor?
about
It hits
someone's
the cabinet?
dad's
Hardware.
dongle sweeping around and hitting
Okay.
cabinets? Oh my god.
There's no need for this level of descriptive language in an advice query.
Okay.
What about our podcast makes you think we want to hear this?
I want to hear it.
I want to hear it.
I mean, I
Going.
want to hear it, but
Okay, it slaps on the cabinets, grazes the floor, and
can you
thrashes.
read it with like a romance novel voice, though? I
Yeah.
just need to get in the mood. You're not really doing it.
Ned, are
for
you telling me you want me to be sexier on the podcast?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
It slaps on the cabinets, raises the floor,
Ew.
and
Ew.
thrashes on all the
No.
innocent pieces of furniture in his kitchen.
Innocent piece of the furniture? Like the furniture didn't do anything to deserve a dingle dong slapping against it?
In parentheses, it says, totally not an exaggeration. So maybe that was an exaggeration. My sister has to avert her children's eyes while her wife has to explain to him why he has to put on pants. Please help me get to my dad's brain about not denting my niece's pure minds. I still want to be able to do Zoom calls because my dad lives alone and I don't want him to get lonely. Sincerely, Mulch Mommy.
Didn't they just say that the mom told him to put on pants, but he lives alone?
Well, the mama told him to put on pants, but he doesn't quite understand that the Zoom call is not a real call. So
no, I get that.
Maybe the mom said over Zoom.
Yeah.
Are they not together?
Pants.
No, they're not together. No, the problem is that they're Zooming the dad. He's somewhere else, and he keeps answering the call without pants.
talking, are they divorced?
No, it's not his. That's why Mulch Mommy was confusing. It's Mulch Mommy's daddy. They don't live together.
Oh, you're saying the mom as in the Mulch Mommy.
Where's the mom?
No, guys.
no
The mom is Mulch
no
Mom.
Where is the mom? Why is there no
Mulch
mom?
Mommy's. It's Mulch Mommy's sister. Mulch
Well,
Mommy's
why didn't you
sister
say
has kids. So it's Mulch Mommy, Mulch Auntie, and Mulch Auntie has 2 Mulch nieces. And then Daddy is naked.
Daddy's
Niece's
naked, but
granddaddy.
Daddy's alone. Your granddaddy's
naked.
alone.
Daddy.
He's Mulch granddaddy, and he's alone.
Where's
Granddaddy. Grandmom, she might be dead from that dick.
She right from dead from his Jeez.
Oh, no.
It sounds huge. It sounds like if it's dragging on the floor.
Flopping everywhere.
I mean, that's the way I'd like to go.
Yeah, it slaps on the cabinets, grazes the floor, and thrashes on the innocent pieces of furniture. So it is big, it sounds.
How much furniture's in their kitchen?
Yeah.
Normally there's just the table and chairs.
I have a tip.
Just the tip, or
If this is a true story, but maybe this is just good advice overall, have them either FaceTime or download Zoom on their cell phone, because I've found that older people are better with FaceTiming on mobile phones as opposed to desktops. And they're not going to be looking down towards Mulch Dicky. They're going to keep it on Daddy.
anyone over a certain age is exclusively capable of having their face in the lower bottom fifth of their screen, shooting up towards their nostrils as they look at you like this.
Right? You see yourself in a Zoom call and you see other people. So how is he denying that it's a video call if he's accepting yes at all? Because if he can see them, like it doesn't track with me. Like how could he? You know, I'm
Are
just
you
saying.
saying that this ridiculously in-depth and graphic description of someone's father's penis is not a real story, Keith?
It doesn't sound real.
Or it's an inside job. He's trying to express himself through the art of...
I think that's a much grosser interpretation. I think that's a sex crime. That's sexual harassment to knowingly be exposing yourself to children, Miles. Thanks for bringing that up.
I'm just imagining the daughter is actually like a 45-year-old woman.
Yes.
And this is like a elderly gentleman.
Yes.
Okay. So the kids are adults.
Yeah.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I
Look,
think
you
that's
guys
correct.
know what they say.
Still a
Zoom
sex
me
crime.
once, shame on you. Zoom me twice, shame on me. So I'd say if this is continuing to happen, it's your fault. Final advice from the Try Guys, just fucking call him on the phone, okay? This is not.
That's good.
Moving on. And what's next? Whose big dick problems we got to solve next, Miles?
All right, someone else got a huge honker, and they're from I will say that I think that like Zoom etiquette is funny. Like this shot, like it looks all cool, but most of the time I'm zooming, it is like we're zooming with so many people, friends, Zoom drinks. I don't always make it look cute. Sometimes it's really bad looking.
You know, Eugene, yours kind of looks like a Zoom background. You're so even, and the background is so perfectly like static.
Yeah.
Even though you've got a plant, that it looks to me like it's not real.
Yeah.
But I know it's real. I've been there. I know what your house looks like.
Man, my Zoom background used to be so cute. It was our cute guest room. Now we're like mid-process of changing it from a guest room into like a toddler room, and it's just it's kind of there's like an upright mattress behind me, and It's rough, man. I just tried to make it as dark as possible so that my beautiful figure is illuminated.
Maggie has chided me. She says that my my podcast view is too ugly, which is not wrong. I'm like backlit from a window behind me. I'm in some nondescript corner, but I was like, it's a podcast. Who cares?
You're in a robe,
I'm
too.
naked.
You're like nude coming to the podcast.
Actually naked. But I'm like, it's a podcast, so who cares? And then I forget that half our viewership, for whatever reason, likes to watch. I've never understood the desire to watch podcasts, not to shit on our lovely audience who enjoys it. I just, I feel like the whole point of a podcast is that you can do other stuff while you're listening to us.
I mean, when do you think we're going to get off the Zoom? When do you think we're going to go IR? Oh my God, Zach, you're taking off your robe. That's just, I am very mulched out right now.
Zach is this old man from the call. I wrote this email.
Yeah, it was me and Miles.
Look, we all need a little break every now and then, but why not keep your brain active while you relax? That's why I love the fun puzzle game Best Fiends. It's an oasis of fun you can take with you everywhere. There are thousands of fun challenges and tons of cute characters to collect along the way.
I don't need me time. I need fiend time. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, Zach.
Previously, we talked, I caught a little Miles. Previously, I have a little Miles fiend, but now I got a fiend named Edward, close to you, Ned, and I've evolved him, and he's got a little booster pack on his back. It's adorable.
And as I've been playing it a little while longer, it gets more challenging as I play, so it's never boring, keeps it fun all the time.
Oh my God, I forgot to tell you about another one. Okay, so there's a guy named Gene, but he's VIP Gene. And it is kind of like Eugene, because Eugene is a VIP, and I'm like, wow, all my friends are in Fiends, and this is great. I'm having a blast. Best Fiends updates every month with new levels and new events, so it never gets old.
Best Fiends has thousands of levels already, with new levels, events, and characters added every month. It's hours of fun right at your fingertips, and you can even play offline. With over 100 million downloads and tons of 5-star reviews, Best Fiends is a must-play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
When do we think we can get back together? I mean, I don't know. When do we want to get back together? I can't not wear pants.
All of us have been quarantining, and we, take tests, and we all say we're negative, and we don't see anyone else. Then it's just as if all 5 of us went to the grocery store once a week.
Yeah, we just can't do any lick marathons or kissing contests or anything.
I love lick marathons.
Yeah. Anyway, our next question's coming from somebody named
Otters Botters.
Otters Botters.
Otters Botters.
All right, here we go. This is a question from Otters Botters, and it is about beer pong. Drop a BP in the chat. Okay. Hi, Miles and hi, Miles, and perhaps the Try Guys. I love the podcast and your videos and all of you. Hashtag Miles Nation. Here's my dilemma. I love beer pong. I think it's so fun, and I get very competitive. However, the beer pong table is always run by upperclassmen bros, and I don't feel welcome at the table as an underclassman girl. It seems like girls are only allowed to play if bros are trying to hook up with them, and they generally don't take it seriously and are only focused on flirting, which I think is bullshit. I also feel like, even if I did get into the game, I couldn't do badly because I would make a fool of myself after taking a big risk. But how am I supposed to get better if I don't enter the game in the first place? I thought y'all would be the best people to ask since you strike me as former beer pong bros, but nice ones, of course. How do you dismantle the patriarchy of the beer pong table and play the game I love without getting intimidated? Thank you in advance for your advice. And apparently this person has friends that went to my high school, so freaking shout out.
I will say, a lot of times you go to someone else's party. Well, first of all, you are in someone else's home, right? You're in their home, and probably they run that table. So there's always house rules, which are always problematic. That's the first thing. People play the game differently. But yes, I would say there are always dicks at a party who are like, no, I'm next. I don't fuck the list. I'm next.
Yeah.
And like, no, man, there's a list. We've all been waiting, and you're also a dick, and no one likes you.
Right.
But I don't know what the solution is. I'm glad to hear that there are like people out there who just like, I'm not in this to flirt.
Yeah.
I'm not in this to make friends. I want to make
I'm
your
here
beer
to
have some
sink
floor dirt in it.
buckets.
Yeah, there should be 2 beer pong tables. One for pros who are serious about the game, and one for people who are trying to like mash.
Yeah, one's
Yeah.
like a social table.
That's what's like. I also think once a party gets to a certain capacity, you should switch to like a flip cup, something that can involve like 10 to 12 people.
Only 4 people's not that much.
And then also, sometimes those games, you get to those last 2 cups, it's forever.
You know what? They should adopt the arcade system, where when you want to be next on an arcade game, you gotta slap your quarter down. Right? It works on pool as well. There's like, you have a little line of physical tokens that says, hey, I'm next, and I'm this person in line.
Eugene, did you play beer pong as a boy or as a man?
Oh yeah, in my diapers, I was ponging all over the place. I love beer pong. I love beer games, and those are really some of the most fun hangouts in college and in my 20s. Were definitely with a table set up in a backyard. Actually, you know, that never dies. I think as you get older, it's just a fun thing to do at parties. You know, in my college experience, I did have a very diverse group of friends, including many women, and I did have friends who were also in frats, so we would actually do beer pong in some frats, and that's where you saw a lot of the situations I think she's describing, where there's a hierarchy, and it's a very, like, machismo-filled environment. Certainly I knew, you know, girls would partner with each other, and they'd also kind of feel the double brunt of a lot of guys either hitting on them or, you know, making them feel a little uncomfortable. So my weird advice is always travel in groups, 1. And 2, because most of these are partner games, if you have a friend who's really good and also happens to be a gay man who gives 0 fucks, he will be the best buffer in that situation. Because I often have played with female friends and I can step up to the bros, but also tell them off if they're being nasty without fear of repercussions, because I think at this point, most of them are just going to be like, no, we're not going to treat this in a overtly homophobic way. But you know what I mean? Like there's an environment that she's describing where it's like very like testosterone filled, and it can be very oppressive and intimidating. And, you know, 1, I think you should always feel comfortable. But 2, if you have a gay friend who's like really good at beer pong and also will not take any shit lying down, that's the perfect partner to bring in those situations.
Yeah, you gotta bring a ringer, because, you know, you're gonna go against the top dogs that have been running the table, they're probably doing it every single weekend, maybe even every single day. And so, like, I remember a story as a freshman in college where, like, I went to a frat party and I brought my buddy and we were like, okay, we're going to play beer pong. And then we, like, waited in line for a while, you know. The thing that Keith said where somebody swooped in and they, like, declared themselves next and scooped us in line. That was upsetting. It happened. We were freshmen. You deal with it. We finally get on the table. We're like, oh, this is our chance. We're playing beer pong. This is awesome. We're going to win. Then we're going to just stay here because winner goes next. We got so smoked. Like, just absolutely steamrolled. Yeah. The game was over in a matter of minutes. Because you know, when you play in the big leagues, you got to bring your A game.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been in a beer pong competition at a bar? Because I've been in 2.
Whoa.
One of which was recently one of the last trips to Hilton Head I did. Brian and I, my brother, we entered a beer pong competition and we got 2 rounds in. But in this,
are we talking like March Madness tourney or?
Yeah, it was like a bar that night had a beer pong tourney. It was only like a $10 buy-in, but you also had to buy your own beer, which is, you know, it makes sense. But we played. We beat our first team, and then the second team was very much Ned's situation. We just got smoked by 2 22-year-olds who clearly only do this as in life, and they were also so mean. And we were like, "There's no need to be mean. We're not. We're like they were just so trash talking. Like, we're just trying to play the game." But the first time I did it, it was in Florida on spring break, and I was definitely 21, and somehow. I don't know how we did this. We were in a bar and somehow we were signed up for a beer pong tournament in a bar definitely 21. And we're playing, and it's me and my friend Jeff, and we are crushing it. Absolutely destroying the game. And we keep winning. And we're like 5 games through. Like we're in the final 4. And we, at this point, run out of beer, and we need to buy beer. But of course, we can't go buy beer even though we're 21. And we somehow tell our opponents, because we're so much better than them, that they have to buy the beer for us. And they bought it. They did it. And then we get to the final round. It's just us against the final team. And Jeff and I are like, we can't win. If we win, they'll know that we're definitely 21, because you have to go to the bar to retrieve the winnings. So we had to just throw the game. But of course, the opponents were also so drunk at this point that they were bad. We like had to play the worst game ever just to lose, because we've gone too far. We don't need to win. We have to lose. And we almost still won. We're trying not to. Like once we threw it really hard and the guy batted it anyway, and he batted it straight into his own cup. We're like, no!
I've got some contrarian opinions about beer pong to drop.
About the BP?
First of all, even pre-corona, if you're not playing with water cups, you're fucking disgusting.
Yes.
If you're drinking beer out of the cup that you put this dirty ass, dusty ass ping pong ball that's bouncing all over the party, disgusting.
Yeah.
You mean the 10 cups are water cups?
Yes, that is gross, Ned.
Yes.
Absolutely
No.
revolting.
Ned.
No, you have a water cup on the side and you wash it before
You wash it? You're very
You're a man of science. You
Yes.
know how this works.
You wash it before you think, you wash it before
Ned,
you
tell
throw
me,
it every time.
does dipping your ball gingerly into a cup of water, does that repel any germs? You're a man of science.
It's
you
good
know
enough.
this.
You're just trying to not get a hairball in there.
Do you really think anyone who's at this type of party playing beer pong cares about germs from in any sense?
What are you going to do?
They should. That's what I'm here to preach, y'all. I get that you're in college or you're in high school and you're young and you're invincible, but grow the fuck up, all right? Germs are real, and now we're
Just don't play
post-corona.
beer pong if you're concerned
Zach,
about that.
how do you play it then? Do you drink from a separate?
Yeah, he's saying you nurse a beer the entire time, and then
What do you do with the
pour
water?
a pitcher of water.
You
out
move
in
it
the
to the
jug.
water.
Move it around.
Oh,
God,
No.
this was contrarian.
That's contrarian number 1. I've got more to go, baby. But also, post-corona, that is now essential. I'm calling that a requirement. If you are playing beer pong, which, by the way, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here and say that, no one, this whole question is irrelevant because you ain't
Well, if
playing
you're
beer
6
pong
feet
for a while.
apart, though, and you're 6 feet apart, and you
true.
wear masks.
Okay, so contrarian number 2, losers and winners get the fuck off the table. I think that having winners... Listen, hear me out. Having winners stay at the table is toxic for a party because what you get, inevitably, is the 2 aggro alpha bros who are like, woo, yeah, fuck yeah, beer pong. And it ruins the room for everybody. And the person asking this question is either intimidated or not allowed to play. And then you get this oligarchy of beer pongers who are great at it. And everyone else, like me, when I was in college, I'm like, I'm not going to fucking play that game. These guys do this like night and day. So I don't even want to it's not even fun for anybody else because we can't even get into play.
You didn't have your own board at your own apartment, bruh?
We were stoners in my apartment, so we didn't play that game.
We took off a closet door, and that was the board.
The closet door is just everybody's beer pong table in their apartment.
Pop it off, and then put it on some chairs. There you go.
Yeah.
Off the hinge?
Yeah, just deface college property just a little bit, and you're good to go.
well, I have a contrarian opinion to the contrarian opinion.
Whoa.
I don't like party poopers. I don't like things that feel like they're bringing the vibe down. So I see how the aggro aspect can do that. But I think in most parties, the beer pong table, which inevitably turns to flip cup, is one of the best social gatherings, especially when you are new to a party. So even do you know how many people you've met standing and watching other people play beer pong? And you turn to them, and a lot of the people who turn to each other say, I fucking hate those two. Like, it's the first thing you can say at a party is you can point out the 2 most faux alpha, stupid ass, they just came to try to play beer pong, and everyone just unites on, hey, what's your name? Oh, nice to meet you. Don't those guys suck?
Fucking words.
Yeah, those guys fucking... Really think about it, Zach. I've made so many
Brings
friends.
people together.
Yeah, it
Wow.
brings people together, Zach.
Honestly, playing beer pong is one of the least social things you can do.
It's true. But watching people play beer pong, that's social.
ridiculing them.
It's a gathering point. It's a sporting event.
You know what? I'm reflecting back on my life, and you are exactly right.
Every party, when you topple the patriarchy by saying someone needs to fucking stop their beer pong, that is a lesson in itself. And then you come together as a democracy and you play flip cup.
It's a breeding ground for revolution. You know, you learn the micro revolution, how to overthrow, to topple the beer pong patriarchy, and you take that skill and bring it forth into the world.
Wait, Zach, you're advocating a mere reform of just, two bros get off the table and play a different flip cup, or play a different beer pong game. We gotta completely overthrow things, right? Flip cup, all of a sudden you got
Defund the beer
20
pong
people in
table.
there having a great time.
Abolish beer pong.
I mean, how much of the party's budget goes to the cheap beer for the beer pong table, right?
That's
when it
right.
could be going to more social things for other people, because when you do that, then the people who have that oligarchy of the beer pong table, they're going to get all of the beer. So they're consuming all of the
Great
party
point.
budget.
That's a
just
good
for
point.
themselves.
That's a great
And
point.
you would think it would self-correct when someone is winning, they get drunk, and then they'd start doing badly, but it just takes so long for that to happen.
If we abolish the beer pong table, we can invest in things like a karaoke machine, right? Things like a bubble machine, perhaps lights for the ceiling. We can make this community of the party thrive.
How you feeling, Zach?
I'm feeling better. You know why? Because I've been on that Caliper CBD game.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
If you don't know, CBD is great. It helps me with stress. It helps calm me with pain, soreness. But the most important thing for me is that it helps me sleep through the night. Caliper CBD believes everyone deserves a simple way to feel better. A lot of CBD comes in oils, but unlike those, Caliper CBD is a powder, so it's completely tasteless. It mixes easily into your food and drink. You don't get the weird taste, no oily residue or mouth feel. It's really just absolutely as easy as can be. So you get precisely 20 milligrams in each packet. You never question how much CBD you're taking. Put in your drink away, start feeling wonderful.
How's that compare to those CBD oils?
This blew my mind. I could not believe it. That it is clinically proven that with the powder, you absorb 450% more CBD than when compared to tinctures.
That's incredible.
It makes me feel like I was wasting all this time before this.
Whoa.
CBD is great because I don't need to change my routine at all to take it. I drink a glass of water before bed, put the powder in there, I sleep like a baby. Caliper CBD comes in affordable 10 and 30 count packs, and you can get started for under $20 with little individual packets that give you the benefits of CBD wherever you go.
So get 20% off your first order when you use promo code TRYGUYS at trycaliber.com/TRYGUYS. You can try Caliber CBD risk-free for 30 days. If you don't love it, they'll give you a full refund.
That's trycaliper.com/TryGuys. Don't forget promo code TRYGUYS for 20% off your first order.
So for my 21st birthday, I went down to college. I was, working in the summer at home, but I went down to college for that weekend.
This is the 21st birthday, the same year that you won the beer pong tournament when you were definitely 21?
Yeah. My dad had done the Pergo, the snap-in fake wood flooring. My parents had replaced their floor with that, and there was some extra of that left over. So I thought, what if you made a beer pong table out of flooring? And I took all this stuff. I went to my college apartment, and I built a beer pong table out of the wood flooring, and also I put a tile in the center, and I called it the floorboard. And it was our beer pong table. But I also took apart the infrared sensors of a air hockey table, and I'd put it so that if you pushed a button when you made a cup on the scoreboard, it would go 1. And it just so happened that this air hockey table was scored 1 to 10. And that's how many cups of beer pong there are.
Whoa.
So we actually had a scoreboard for the beer pong in our apartment. And we would, every time you got to 10, we make the whole party shut up. And that person would hit that button. It would go beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 and then everyone would fucking go nuts.
Keith, you were like the Tennessee Jimmy Neutron. Making mini golf, making fucking beer pong tables.
Yeah, I like making stuff.
Does that make me Carl Weezer?
Absolutely.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm going to just go ahead and guess that of us, I'm trying to see who is the most likely to be a bouncer of the group. The guy, not a bouncer of the party, but the guy who tries to bounce to get two cups at once. I think that's a Ned move for sure. As soon as you're looking away, I can tell by his little grin that is definitely a Ned move.
Yeah, that's a
hell
Ned move.
yeah. But the thing is, you gotta get it if you're gonna try to bounce. You gotta get it. You gotta get it. You gotta do it when it's like a full stack of cups, maximum impact. But and this is what you do. You say to your partner beforehand, like, all right, I'm going to try and bounce it. You throw it at the same time so that if they try and slap it, they might accidentally slap your ball.
Yep.
And they'll either slap it and get a penalty, or best case scenario, you bounce it, you get it in, they get it in, same cup, 4 cups, ball's back, game over. But no, I like to play a little sneaky.
All of these stories of drinking games and social events is making me think of the moment that we're in right now. And wouldn't call this a correction per se, but I was thinking back on our podcast last week and I felt a little guilty because I think we were talking about the things that we want to get back to. And I was talking about how I would maybe roll the dice for a movie theater if I could, because I just want to go see a movie. But then I was thinking about coronavirus and its current state and where we're at right now and how the country is somewhat cavalierly is that in a cavalier fashion reopening. We haven't finished our first wave. We're just kind of pretending that it is over. 1,000 people are still dying every day in the United States. I think that we've forgotten that over 100,000 people have died. And I'm very concerned. I think that we have just kind of given up. The coronavirus task force hasn't met in months, apparently, or in over a month. It just is it's really fucked up. So if I could just say one thing, is please, for the love of fucking God, wear your goddamn mask. If you're like, well, I don't know anyone who's died, or I feel fine, I don't care. If you're listening to this podcast, wear your motherfucking mask. And if you don't want to wear a mask, then guess what? You're not allowed to listen to my podcast anymore. That's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to say. But it's just if we all wore a mask, if we all did this, we could get back to life. But if we don't do that, then it's going to get worse again. We're going to have to go into shutdown again. The economic fallout is going to last longer. A lot of fucking people are going to die. It makes I got really upset this week thinking about it. And then even Beijing is starting to go back into shutdown again because even though they were really, really careful and really vigilant, they're experiencing a second wave. This isn't over yet.
There, you see the Orlando airport? You see what happened there?
I just saw that before we recorded this.
Oh boy, they tested their 500 or so employees, and 260 of them had coronavirus.
Oh my god!
It's an international airport. And also, it just that. Oh, all those people, have families, and all those families, and Florida is not the best behaved state in my experience. In my experience, they're not known for loving to obey the rules. Yeah. So oh boy. I'm concerned. And Houston, or Texas rather, today had a big spike that was double their average that they've had over the last month, just today or yesterday. It's imminent. The repercussions of a few weeks ago, and a few weeks from now will be even more detrimental to what we're doing now. So it's not about protecting yourself with the mask; it's about protecting those around you with the mask. Everyone wearing a mask is actually protecting you. Mm-hmm. So when you look at them judgmentally about wearing their mask, they're actually protecting you. That's how the masks work. We protect one another by wearing the mask, not ourselves.
Yeah, it's really, I think it's one of those viruses that's very set up for humans to not really understand it. If it's all the indicators are lagging 3 to 5 weeks, and it's something that can be transmitted if you're not having symptoms. That's contrary to so many other things that we deal with in life. You're used to immediate feedback where if you're coughing, okay, that's when you're sick. And, okay, you open up businesses, okay, we'll see the results of that a couple days later. No, something that happened a month ago, you're it's so intangible. And I think it's going to really lead people to be complacent and to forget and to not take it as seriously.
We want you to play beer pong. That's what we're trying to get at with water cups, because everything else is gross. We want to get you back to that. So help us get you back to that. Wear your mask.
Don't you kind of feel like, though, society now is at a cultural breaking point where we are essentially going to preach these things to the same choir who are going to abide by it?
Right.
I think the outliers that are... Here's the thing is that whether it be coronavirus or the Black Lives Matter movement, you have people who implicitly are given privilege by the system and they don't understand how the system oppresses others. And that's like a very basic idea. It involves this much amount of reading and this much amount of empathy to understand it implicitly. So where do they redirect all of this anger that they feel in this backlash to things that they feel like they should have control over, which are these tiny little inconveniences? I don't know if you saw the video of, Officer Karen, the cop who had a breakdown because she believed the McDonald's employees were withholding her Egg McMuffin. And it was this moment where I was just like...
She was afraid of poisoning, right?
And I was afraid of being poisoned. And it was one of those things where you just kind of realize that there's a complete lack of understanding of what this entire movement is. And I think that the same thing can be somewhat equated to those who refuse to wear their masks. Like, people are being taken off planes because they won't put their mask on because they think it is infringing upon their basic human rights. And the whole idea is that, do you understand who is really being hurt in terms of human rights atrocities through the past and through the present? Like, that's what most people are trying to work towards bettering. And you're sitting there being a little fucker saying it's too hard to breathe in this thing. Someone's holding my fucking McDonald's griddle breakfast, and in the end, who gets hurt? People on the far right are trying to attack fast food workers and service employees. It's like, again, a total misunderstanding of those who are already pushed down by the system. So I think I don't know. It's come to a point where I'd love to maybe try to support and say that the change is possible for a lot of those who, maybe our parents, maybe those who will bend a sympathetic ear at least. But I think some people might just be a little too far gone, and I have zero sympathy for them.
And I think that actually brings us to our next thing that we want to talk about, which is that it's Pride Month. So, but at the same time, we're in a very intense point in our country, and it's all part of the same issue.
We were actually thinking about this. I don't know how and when Pride started.
You might have seen more tweets or news about this, but when Pride was essentially canceled worldwide, it was not really canceled because the idea of Pride has always been steeped in protest. It was born from protest. The first Pride marches and parades came a year after the Stonewall Rebellion. So they began...
I didn't know.
Yeah, it was inspired by and driven by Stonewall, because Stonewall and the different uprisings that happened before it in the late 60s to 1969, the main driver of what came out of that was the LGBT plus community realizing that we had an imperative to become visible. And the idea of Pride was not only just like, hey, look at me in my, colorful costume dancing around on the street, which is fantastic. That's an expression of pride. But the whole idea of being able to do that, imagine especially like in 1970, is that you are bringing danger in a way into your own space that you previously had tried to hide that aspect of yourself because it's so marginalized. And I think that when the Black Lives Matter movement really started picking up speed right before Pride, many of us in the community realized that this was just something that was in tandem with the DNA of what the Pride Parade is, which is it is standing up against police brutality. It is saying that just like the first people who really stood up at Stonewall, which were Black trans people, drag queens, lesbians. It was a very diverse group. And I think that that's another message that really came out of that history, which is there's so much diversity even within the umbrella term of LGBTQ+, that is the origins for which we march. And I think that it echoes so much with what's been happening in terms of the cultural shift to be able to highlight those oppressed voices And so it's interesting because I think a lot of people, especially over the past couple of decades, kind of maybe misconstrued, particularly young people, that maybe Pride was just in essence a celebration or a party. And then again, like corporations and companies jumped on it and decided this was a great way to get gay money. And I think that some people forgot.
Get that gay money.
Yeah, get that gay money.
Gay money.
You realize that rainbow dollar, can pay the bills. So I think that, if anything, I think this is a really wonderful moment for learning and for people to understand, even, allies who come to celebrations like Pride parades, that the reason why they're marching down the street is because it started as marches. It started as protests. So I think that's the one thing we can never forget moving forward.
Heath, maybe I think you mentioned this in relation to Black Lives Matter, of like, there's one thing to show up on the day of the protest, there's another to enact it in your life. And so I'm wondering, Eugene, what is the best way for someone to be an ally? Because certainly in years past, it feels like Pride has just become straight girl Coachella, where it's like, oh, fun, I get to go to this thing for a day and dress up in a fun, colorful costume, and then I go back to my life where I ignore gay rights altogether, right? And you can't do that.
I think there's no straight answer, but to how to be the perfect ally. You can't really be a perfect ally to anyone, but I think people just need to remember that even with the news, you see things like J.K. Rowling's transphobic statements. You see the Trump administration's ruling about rolling back non-discriminatory healthcare practices for LGBTQ people. Then the Supreme Court was like, but you also can't fire people for their LGBTQ plus identities, which is kind of a win, but also that should have always been the rule.
Right.
Yeah, so it's sort of okay, sure, thanks. The reason why these protests and celebrations and marches are still happening is because daily LGBTQ people are facing discrimination. That's kind of the bottom line, especially trans people. And I think that's where some people kind of lose this broader sense of allyship, because they think that maybe just taking that one Instagram photo or tweeting that one tweet is enough, but being tapped into what is happening to the community day after day, especially with something as egregious and horrible as a Black trans woman being murdered, but also as bigger picture as what the conservative administrations try to do to lessen the freedoms for the entire community. Those are things that being aware of at the very least will give you a sense of why the reaction from queer people is always tinged with a sense of needing to express ourselves, needing to fight for our freedoms, and whether that be the way that we display ourselves with our sexuality or our gender expression or our identities. I think some people get confused even when they're like, I can't even wrap my mind around non-binary. It's just sort of this idea that you just got to listen and respect that this is a space that people are coming from, where the world at large is and historically been generally against them. So I think that's kind of the bottom line, is to just come with an empathetic ear, and I think that's what most people lose these days.
If you're still using one of the big wireless providers this year, have you asked yourself, what are you paying for? Between expensive retail stores, inflated prices, and hidden fees, you're being taken advantage of, my dude, because they know you'll pay.
Enter Mint Mobile. Mint Mobile provides the same premium network coverage you're used to, but at a fraction of the cost, because everything is online. So it saves on retail locations and overhead, then passes those savings directly to you.
Mint Mobile makes it easy for you to cut your wireless bill to just $15 a month.
And every plan comes with unlimited nationwide talk and text.
With Mint Mobile, stop paying for unlimited data you're never going to use. Choose between plans with 3, 8, or 12 gigabytes of 4G LTE data.
And you can use your home phone with any Mint Mobes plan and keep your same phone number along with your existing contacts.
Ditch your old wireless bill and start saving with my man Mint Mobes, Mint Mobile.
To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door free, go to mintmobile.com/tryguys. That's mintmobile.com/tryguys. Cut your wireless bill down to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/tryguys.
Yeah, empathy is something that I'm seeing a lot of our country it lacks enough of, and I don't really understand, and I think it's because it's hard to empathize with something you don't understand, and if you aren't persecuted, and if if your rights are valued, it's hard to understand that that's not happening for everybody. But I think that when you openly like reject proof of it, like on Twitter or Google, you can just Google the abuse that's going on or has gone on forever. You can Google how our country has been built on slavery, and how even when we signed the Declaration of Independence, it kind of had a loophole saying but not black people. These things have happened, and just because you haven't heard them before doesn't mean when you hear them now you should reject them. You should hear them now and consider them and look it up and realize that it's okay to have been wrong. Think of that as past yourself. You're not that person anymore. That's a stranger. That's not you. You are who you are now, and you can change your mind, and you can, if you have known you've done bad stuff and you really want to change, you actually have to do active good stuff. It's not all just stopping doing bad things. Like people have asked me about the Eat the Menu Chick-fil-A because they had stopped doing the anti-LGBT donating to those organizations, but they didn't start donating to pro-LGBT organizations, right? So like, just because you stop doing bad doesn't mean you're good.
You're right.
You have to do both. And like, until they have done something active to undo what they've done in the past, why would I support them? Like, just because you stop, like, it's like, okay, I'm going to stop punching Ralph, so I'm cool now, right? It's like, no, you punched Ralph like for like 6 years. Ralph's really fucked up now. It's like, yeah, but like, I'm not anymore, so it's all good. Like, no, you need to apologize to Ralph.
Yeah.
Maybe buy Ralph a vacation or something. Say like, sorry about that, Ralph. I didn't know I was being a total dick.
You bring up a great point where expressing your anti-LGBTQ perspective is not the same as being quiet about it, or being, in a sense, like saying that you're not homophobic or transphobic isn't the same as being pro LGBT.
Yeah.
Like we all went through this, like, your friend's mom, Karen, who might be very Christian, and Ralph's a little gay, and she would say, oh, you know what I just learned? You should not call the kids gay. Don't call him gay. Don't use that word. But he's still going to hell. You know what I mean? It's like that attitude. I know you still think I'm going to hell, even if you think you can say I'm gay or not. Like, so that's kind of the thing, is that people need to be more impassioned to want to support others and be open to experience those identities. I think that people are just like, really, it's a great disservice to everyone and their own growth to like harbor ill will and borders for people who can like enrich your experience in life. Like, it's just, I think that's just the saddest thing.
And that's the least you can do during something like Pride Month. Is it's like, okay, we're not asking you to just overnight change your opinion. I mean, I am asking you to do that, but just during this month, listen. Just listen. And it is so ridiculous for any person to assume that they understand the entirety of human psyche and who people are and what they believe. Just listen to what other people believe. And yes, as you said, you might get enriched by it.
And Ned, you went to Pride parades quite a bit, right?
Oh, yeah. I lived basically in the gay neighborhood in Chicago, Boys Town, in in Lakeview. Hey, great bars. So there's a Pride parade in my backyard every year, and I would go support. And it was I actually didn't really know until we're talking about it, and I'm like furiously Googling in the background here about the history of the Pride movement. But like I had a lot of close gay friends. My college roommate was gay, and then I felt like in the Pride parades in Chicago, it was like one big party and a celebration and a kind of an expression of being out and proud. And I didn't understand the political significance of it. And if you think about it, like the Civil Rights Act was only in it was just about 50 years ago, and then only now in 2020 there's a court ruling that is like reaffirming that sex refers to like
everyone,
everyone and gender, and like that's kind of crazy to me that they're like in 2020 you're reaffirming that a gay person can't be fired for being gay, and that only 50 years ago, 55, 56 was even a law about it in the first place. So that before that there were, legal discriminatory, not just like socially discriminatory practice, but like legally things could happen to you for being who you are. I mean, that I guess it kind of puts it into perspective for me of how important it is. It is also a protest and a movement still that requires political and social action.
We have to remember that the LGBTQ plus community is still at risk, especially in a lot of countries. Like, it is still illegal in some countries to be openly gay, to be openly trans. It's crazy if you don't know that, like, gay men or men who have sex with men were only allowed to give blood in 2015 or 2016. It was illegal for us to give blood before that. Even if you were in, like in the Pulse shooting, our own community could not give blood because after that ruling happened, if you're a gay man, you still have to provide documents that say you have not had sex with a man in the past 6 months to give blood. As a gay man who has sex with a man a lot, that's like impossible for many of us. Like it's just so antiquated, and these are ingrained in laws. It's insane. And one other thing I think that is really important to point out is LGBTQIA is a mouthful, right? It's a huge umbrella. No community is monolithic. I think this also speaks to this idea that, the black community is not monolithic. The same for Asians. Like, who the fuck? I mean, it's a very white-centric, Eurocentric thing, but who the fuck said Asian for what is literally the largest population in the world with the most like diverse like histories of all these countries, and we're all Asian? It's this crazy thing. And I think even in the queer community, we have to learn that we have a education ourselves to empathize and learn about each other. I mean, I wasn't born with an entire knowledge of pride or of trans people's experience, of non-binary experience. I'm a cisgendered gay man who in many ways was pretty naive to that. I had to grow into learning that. So it's not impossible even for us in our community to learn how to get to a point where we can be accepting. And that's something that applies to everyone. It's just when you are queer, you're given a little bit more of a crash course because we lead with love, and we lead with this idea that we can say all of these letters in this acronym because we accept that the diversity is there and ever changing. That's why there's a plus, right? And one thing I know that a lot of people's parents maybe say is like, I don't understand why there are so many like labels that people have. Like, what's a demisexual? What's a bisexual? That's the thing I never got. Like, that's always the argument. But if you think about it, it's just like the openness to even be able to say, we're going to respect your identity, and you are allowed to name it. You're allowed to name yourself. That's so powerful. And I think that's something that every community can start learning from, because we're so used to being like, this is this group, we're going to push them to the side and label them this. And I think one thing queer people have, at least in the modern era, is that we are really adamant about letting people, even if it's one person who wants to name themselves one identity, fucking do it.
I mean, we have 3,000 types of apples. Nobody's got a problem with that.
Yeah.
You know why? Because the apples are different.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know, by the way, this is one of my favorite videos that our buddy Shane Madej made back in the day, that there are as many types of bananas as there are all apples, but we don't eat them. And it's this crazy thing. Oh, I'm totally changing the topic really quick. But that there should be a diversity of bananas, because then there's the banana that we're eating now. Wait, listen to this. The banana that we're eating now is different than the banana that we were eating in the 50s, because there is a banana disease. It's like a parasite, and it's traveling continent to continent and slowly destroying our monoculture of bananas. And if we had a variety of bananas, we would be able to weather that storm. It's great. You should go check that out. Learn
if you can
bananas.
ever take a trip to Hawaii again, you can try something closer to the old bananas we ate. They're called apple bananas, and I'm not kidding. They're called apple bananas.
And they're good?
And they're little, and they're good, and they're sweet, and they're apple bananas, which is the funniest name for a banana.
I've been thinking, this is a little broader than pride, but just with everything, and frankly the last 4 years of Trumpism, I've been thinking about the damage of the myth of American exceptionalism. And, we've grown up in this idea that USA is number one, chanting USA, we're the greatest country in the world, and we did it. We figured out democracy, we beat the Nazis, and life is good, guys. And as a result, it has created this damaging narrative that we are the best. And so any criticism of the best means that you're un-American, when really what we know is that to be the best, you need to constantly reevaluate yourself, and you need to challenge and push yourself. And the idea that we are at a point where we're past criticism, we're past growth, is so stunting, let alone wrong. I mean, our narrative, the history of our country fails to observe history is written by the winners, and so we don't look at the horrible things that we did to get to this point. But even so, this idea that we can't look in the mirror and think about ways to improve, how fucking stupid is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can improve on as people, and I challenge all our listeners, learn something more about pride during this month. Learn something more about the history of our country during this month. Don't celebrate my birthday today. Instead, celebrate Juneteenth tomorrow. I would look it up if you don't know what it means. It's very important, and we should celebrate that instead of the 4th of July, or if we're going to celebrate the 4th of July, we need to goddamn celebrate both, because, truly, our country wasn't really free. It still isn't free.
We made it a company holiday this year.
Yeah, we did. And we encourage you to ask your employers to do the same. If you run a business, we encourage you to do the same. It's just honoring a significant moment in history that, even if you look it up, it's pretty fucked up. They didn't even find out for 2 months after the end of the Civil War that they should have been freed already. And there's some fucked up shit, obviously. So learn more about it so you can be more aware, so that you have more impassion when you're doing something to help make a difference, whether that's donating, calling somebody who represents you. There's a lot of ways to do something. There's also those playlists that you can watch on YouTube or just put on, where the ad revenue goes to Black charities. Support the Black businesses. Help everybody out. Everybody should succeed. I've been thinking that, Black Lives Matter. Black lives should thrive. They shouldn't just matter. Everybody should thrive. We should be in this free, amazing country where anything's possible, and we should help each other have those opportunities.
Hell yeah.
Do not let anyone tell you are a singular monolithic banana that was engineered by oppressive powers. No, you are all beautiful, diverse apples, whether you are yet to be discovered or identify as one of the hundreds of varieties.
Diversify bananas, abolish beer pong, and happy Pride, Black Lives Matter.
But if you aren't sure what other ways you could improve yourself other than the many ways we have listed in our podcast the last few weeks, maybe it's a simpler problem you need some advice for. And we've got advice for simple problems from a simple man we call Miles Bonsignore, with advice that will go for miles with Miles Bonsignore.
Simple man.
Ooh.
It's advice that'll go for miles. Tune into your radio station. It's advice that'll go for miles. Everyone get ready, Miles Nation. Miles Nation, go.
Yeah.
It's advice
Go off.
for miles. It's advice that'll go for miles.
I was still going.
It's advice that'll go for miles.
Thank you so much to Minnie Koppenheffer. What's up, Miles Nation? How y'all doing tonight?
Woo!
Yeah.
A quick little note, I've decided after the request to stop calling the Miles Nation bitches, because it's inappropriate, and honestly, we stan a queen who changes, and I'm talking about me. I will no longer be referring to you as a derogatory word. I meant it out of love, but you know what? I'm freaking changing it, baby. Miles Nation for all. Freaking Miles for president. What's up, you stinky little cuties? Have you ever have you?
Not much better.
That's way better.
It's way better. I don't want to make anybody upset or annoyed, and I freaking understand it. I have no defense. What's up, you stinky little cuties? How y'all doing tonight?
Woo.
Boo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Miles Bonsignore. I'm 49 years old, and I'm going to teach you how to live your best life. Have you ever wanted to, I don't know, change it or something? You got too many possums in your sewage pipes running all around? Well, guess what, okay? I'm going to teach you not only how to have better hair, but how to have better sex. What? Still listening? I hope not. Anyway, we love electronics, and I know where you think this is going. Wi-Fi is important, but you know what's more important? Diet. So make sure you're eating well and eating right. But if you're eating right, that's not all that you need, okay? What you also need is exercise. And we all know that the most important thing is getting an insurance carrier that has the best cell phone plan. Okay, now before you stop me, let me just one more second. Take a deep breath. Take a deep ass motherfucking breath. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. You're going to want to breathe in for 7 seconds, hold the breath for 7 seconds, breathe out for 7 seconds, hold it down at the bottom for 7 seconds, and breathe back in, you stinky cutie. I have found that this is called box breathing. A therapist told me to do it many years ago, and if I'm ever feeling ultra stressed out, if you just sit and set a timer for fucking 3 minutes and deep breath, 7 seconds in, breathe in for 7 seconds, hold your breath for 7 seconds, breathe out for 7 seconds, you're going to feel way fucking better. You're going to open your eyes and you're going to see all sorts of beautiful colors you didn't even see before, and smells and sounds and sights that you couldn't even freaking believe because there were too many possums in your sewage pipes. But not anymore. For only $19.90 free, you can take a deep ass breath. And after you've taken a deep breath, you can buy a cameo from me.
No. You cannot advertise that every show.
Okay.
Wait. Did you guys see, by the way, that Cameo is now doing Zoom calls? And you can buy a Zoom call with Jeremy Piven for $10,000 for 10 minutes.
Hit up Jeremy Piven.
Isn't that fucking insane?
Zach, it's so insane. I'm like, dang, should we do that?
Yeah, I was like, how much could I be charging? Like $1,000 for that?
For a Zoom
I
minutes.
I shouldn't, but
Anyway, take a deep breath. It's going to help you out in the long run.
What are your fans called, Miles?
The Miles Nation, I would say.
The Miles
The
Nation.
Miles Nation, yeah. And formerly, something I won't repeat, but Stinky Little Cuties is the current title.
Okay.
They are Stinky Cuties. They are part of the Miles Nation. And I freaking stan every damn one of them.
Do your friends who use the metric system call themselves kilometers?
Absolutely they do. Kilometre Nation.
Kilometre nation.
Kilometre Nation from France.
Oh, j'adore.
Well, thanks for joining us on yet another exciting episode of the TryPod. Make sure if you're feeling like you want a new shirt or something, we got some of those. Tryguys.com. Check it out. If you need some tea, check out Zydeco.com. You need some hot sauce, KeithChickenSauce.com. These are all things you can have, I guess. We hope you're doing well. We hope you're staying sane. We hope you're staying healthy. And thanks for joining us once again.
Eugene, hit us with the official TryPod theme song.
Don't be a banana. Bananas are lame because there's only one banana in the whole mother game. If you want diversity, make sure you pick up your apples at the grocery because there's lots of them. It's the TryPod. Gay rights.
Until next time, stay beautiful.